Britain is not the first country to consider leaving the EU. One America's Stephanie Myers tells us about another European country that decided to stay in the EU last year, and arguments from both sides of the Brexit debate.
Around this time last year, residents of a different country were heading to the polls to vote on whether they should leave the European Union. That country was Greece, and their referendum was nicknamed the Brexit vote. Ultimately, they decided to remain in the EU. Fast forward 1 year later, and all eyes are on Britain, waiting to see if voters decide to leave the EU, referred to as the Brexit debate. Before exploring both arguments, let's first discuss the European Union. The 28 countries in the EU have access to Europe's so-called single market, allowing free movement of goods, capital, services, and people among states. Britain joined the bloc in 1973, but some believe the EU has taken control of the UK. Last year, Prime Minister David Cameron promised to hold a referendum if he won the 2015 general election. Some of the hot-button issues debated between both sides of the Brexit debate are legislation, economy, trade, and immigration. As a member of the bloc, the UK is subject to EU legislation.
I think there are a lot of benefits from being in the European Union, and I think in order to make decisions alongside other countries, we need to be sitting around the same table.
But supporters of the British exit point out that leaving the EU will return sovereignty back to Britain.
If you care about our democracy, I hope that you'll believe in our country and vote leave tomorrow.
Another argument the Leave campaign highlights is a stricter immigration process. Right now, EU rules require Britain to admit all EU citizens who want to move or travel to the UK. But some are not happy with those rules.
I feel that there's a lack of democracy in the European Union, and the decisions are taken at a level that's too far away from the ordinary members of the Union, so that's why I voted to leave.
Other British politicians, like the leader of the UK Independence Party, argue the influx of immigrants has already depressed wages of native-born British workers. That's when the economy and trade enter the picture. Those advocating for the Leave campaign believe Britain's economy would actually benefit from a Brexit, citing how costly the EU membership already is. They argue they can focus on securing trade deals with other countries such as China, India, and the U.S. However, international banks warn that the value of the pound could fall dramatically if Britain votes to leave the bloc, which has already prompted voters to exchange their pounds to euros and the U.S. dollar. All of this could lead to a ripple effect on the global economic scale.
One development that could shift investor sentiment is the upcoming referendum in the United Kingdom. A UK vote to exit the European Union could have significant economic repercussions.
Politicians around the world have voiced their thoughts on the Brexit debate, including here in the U.S. President Obama campaigned in the UK, urging voters to remain in the European Union. British Prime Minister David Cameron has also advocated to remain in the EU. But at the end of the day, it's up to voters to decide. Results are expected to be released tonight. Stephanie Myers, One America News.